Hey guys, this is Impact Hall of Famer Gail Kim, and you are watching the Countdown City WrestleCast.
What's up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your host, JC, joined this week by Tommy.
Nope.
And he tried to make him laugh, almost got him there. We got Mike.
What's up, guys? I'm Mike, and we are almost 2 months down into 2022 Electric Boogaloo.
Today is 22
22
on a Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was heavily reminded of that when my daughter got up, and today was tutus, tiaras, and ties day for 2/22 twit twit. A lot of T's there, yeah. So
a lot of alliteration there.
Yeah, it was. It
Oh,
really
you had a dad day then.
I did, but she's at the age where she can dress herself. Thank God, so I don't have to do a whole lot. So
I remember when I got there last week.
Anyway, what is up, guys? Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you don't know the drill by now, we're going to be live today talking about Elimination Chamber and Impact NoSurrender. If you're joining us live,
sorry,
but feel free to
reaction.
Yeah, feel free to live chat along with us. Share your thoughts on it. We'll talk about the events and give us our
NoSurrender,
ratings,
but plenty of betrayal.
Really, yeah. I mean, not a whole lot as far as the way a title changes, but definitely enough for storylines and gonna get a pretty quick turnaround
Still Japan in 2020 all over.
Affiliation changes more like it.
Still gonna get a lot to go on. So, all right. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit of wrestling news. Some things worth calling out. The first one, obviously, is the biggest news coming out right now, at least on the WWE side. And no, it doesn't involve any sort of controversy. Thank God.
Or does it?
Who knows? But it's finally happening. The Undertaker has been announced as the first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2022.
Well, they're just letting anybody in nowadays, aren't they? Just kidding.
Well, I was. You know what's funny is how many times I had to remind myself he wasn't already in there. It's like. Now with this, when they announced it, I knew for a fact he was. But there was like years ago, I swore up and down he was already in there.
Mandela effect. Do you have like a memory of watching?
I guess. I was just like I could have swore. I was like swearing up and down. I can't remember who inducted him, but I know he gave a speech. It's like I know he did, and I was absolutely wrong. And I was just like, well, why the hell isn't he? But
he was still active, I guess. Still, even if it was once a year or twice a year, he was still active.
Take his speech with something like, "You've done it now. You've gone and made a big mistake."
Yeah.
I mean, as a person who loved that theme song, I agree. So I can't even lie.
Also, that pay-per-view. But anyway.
It's long overdue, and honestly, I don't even know. I don't even think it's worth announcing anybody else for this Hall of Fame class. I mean, it's. You wonder why it took so long, but it's like, well, he finally gave him his own chance, so.
If you ever wanted to sneak someone into the Hall of Fame without a lot of hullabaloo, this would be the year to do it. Because with all due respect to anybody else that gets announced, they're not going to be mentioned.
No.
Because it's The Undertaker and everybody else. Hate to say it that way, but...
But it's true, though.
Yeah,
it's like,
true.
I mean, literally, I can't name a guy who's been more loyal to WWE than him. I mean, no offense to literally everyone else they've ever hired, but I can't think of anyone more loyal than him. To the point where I have a feeling he could have been one of the few guys to actually hit Vince and get away with it, like legitimately punch him. Like, I'm sure he's probably wanted to do a myriad of times and get away with it.
If only.
This was mentioned briefly too on the Geekcast as well. Joe and Ted posed a question to me, was like, is he really the last of the old school guys to finally get into the Hall of Fame? One of those big stars you kind of grew up with in wrestling on the WWE side?
Well,
except for like I was gonna say The Rock, but he's kind of later. He's kind of the next generation after that.
Yeah.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
Is Macho Man in? Am I crazy?
Macho Man's in.
Macho Man's in because his brother.
That's
right,
right.
agreed to it, yeah.
But I know that's one that took a long time because there was heat there.
Yeah. There's legit heat there. So.
I know this is kind of a random one and not necessarily on Undertaker's level, but are Demolition in? Because they've had some heat with WWE. Okay.
I think so.
I'm sure. I think there's a few people I know that like got involved in lawsuits or different things that WWE's kind of had heat with. But I mean, I think it's definitely the last.
My thing was after Scott Hall went in, I was like, everybody's got to be going in now. There's no reason that they can't put anybody in if Scott Hall got to go.
I mean, not everybody. We know there's certain people.
Yeah.
But
oh no, I'm wrong. Demolition isn't in yet.
No, I was right? Well, I'm not wrong. She's not going in.
Yeah, she's not going in, among other people. Obviously, Owen Hart won't be for good reason. We know why now.
Well, for good reason.
You're trying to be serious. Well,
yeah. Bernie, what is up? Yes. I think he kind of was that bridge between the old school, the Attitude Era, and even into the modern era. That's just how long his career is spanned.
Yeah.
Mostly the same gimmick throughout, aside from the American Badass motorcycle thing. It didn't deter too much from it. Even with the whole Ministry of Darkness, it was pretty similar character, just a little more cult-like, if you will. But yeah, he really kind of is the last of the, I guess, really old school guys to go in, and it's pretty amazing.
Because I mean, he was like one of the young. He was one of the young guys when it came to Hogan, Savage, and Jake the Snake and all those guys.
Right.
And then he was like the veteran when Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H were really getting traction. He was the ultra veteran with guys like Cena and Lesnar, and getting legendary status with guys like AJ and whoever else they brought in, and Roman and all that. So he's essentially almost a 4-decade career, more or less.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, like several legends, he went to Saudi Arabia and had matches he shouldn't have. But
my hope is that with him finally agreeing to go in the Hall of Fame, is that this is it. I don't personally, I don't like it when we start to see Hall of Famers come out of retirement to do a match here and there, like
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels coming out to do a Saudi show. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
I've never watched it, by the way. Just
that
I never watched that show. No, I didn't watch that whole show, but I'm never watching that match. Shawn retired perfectly. As much as I wanted him to beat The Undertaker at a WrestleMania,
yeah,
the first one is still my favorite match of all time. Mm-hmm. So as far as I'm concerned, that's not canon.
And I was there for WrestleMania 25. That match was insane.
Yeah, that wasn't canon. That was a side story, But
it was a fan fiction.
That was WWE Legends. It was WWE Legends.
Right?
Extended universe.
It was a fan fiction match.
It was a 2K22 match kind of thing, is what it was. So, but I really. I think partially, and I mean, I don't know this for sure, but you would think all these years we said it's surprising he's finally going in, but I think the reason why is because he felt like he still had wrestling and left in him, and I think he's at a point right now where it's done, it's over completely. He's got all of his system. He's no more matches to bring to the table, and that's it. Did he ever really have a passing of the torch moment though? I have to wonder.
I feel like he had several. I feel like he had a ton over his career, with guys like Lesnar. I feel like he did it with him, but back in 2002. Mm-hmm. I feel like he did kind of have it with Roman Reigns, in the match no one wanted. But
I think the one thing he didn't quite have was the passing of the supernatural gimmick that a lot of people wanted.
Wanted him to give it to Bray Wyatt.
Right. There was a big thing, big push for that. He definitely put over a bunch of guys later in his career. Like Tommy said, whether you believe that the Brock Lesnar win was because he got concussed or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think Heyman tried to sell that at some speaking thing he was doing or whatever. But
Right.
and then he came back and he did the Reigns loss, and then he beat Cena at that weird like Cena's in the crowd, but he's gonna run backstage and grab his jorts and have a match but yeah.
What is a couple of questions though before we move on? What is your favorite Undertaker match or moment, and what match do you wish he could have had before his retirement?
Favorite Undertaker match?
Well,
I have a couple. We already talked about one, the Shawn Taker one, and that one ranks much. But that was probably number one for me because of the fact that I was there and it was insane. The crowd was insane. Number two is absolutely Hell in a Cell with Mankind. But a very close number three is him and Batista at WrestleMania 23.
Right. When they were like in the middle of the show or something? Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember thinking, this should be the main event. What the hell? Why is this in the middle of the show? That makes no sense. And that was the year that Taker had won the Rumble. I don't know why they weren't the main event. I didn't understand that. And I mean, the main event wasn't bad, but I was like, Taker should be closing the show. So
wait, wasn't that? No, that wasn't Cena Rock, was it?
that was Cena Michaels.
Oh,
It was Cena, Michaels, and wasn't there someone else? Was it like a triple threat or something?
It was just Cena
okay,
Michaels.
Cena
No,
Michaels,
because there was that weird. Yeah, that's right. Because there was a weird
Because
thing.
I think it was supposed to be a rematch between Cena and Triple H, but Triple H was injured.
Right.
Because
That
Cena and
was,
Triple H was 22 the year before.
That was
Yeah.
2007, I remember, because we were at that Royal Rumble when it happened. It was insane.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
We were there. Yeah.
Yep. So.
But yeah, honestly, he hit a streak. No pun intended. In his streak, because honestly, early on, a lot of those matches in the early WrestleMania years were kind of crap. Like his Jake the Snake match was so. His I think Superfly was his very first WrestleMania match. Which back when like WrestleMania matches were still just kind of like not.
Shows,
They weren't that great. They weren't that well storyline. Not that they are now. But like you said, the Batista, there was an Edge match that he had for the title at the Florida WrestleMania, one of the Florida ones. His Punk match was a really good match you got out of him. He really hit this time right there, kind of right before he got to Lesnar, a little bit before that, where he was just really having crazy, amazing WrestleMania matches with some of those guys.
His series of matches with Edge.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
right.
In terms of matches I wish he could have had, Sting is like always my default.
Right,
answer.
yeah, I'm right there with you.
What could have been, what should have been, what WrestleMania match we all wanted, especially when Sting was back that one year.
I wish Sting would have been willing to come. I mean, I know WWE handled it so horribly. Part of it was because all the big names in WCW had the Warner money, so they didn't, necessarily need the contracts. But I wish Sting would have been willing to come when he was a little bit younger to do that, and that would have been. I know Vince would have made him lose like he did to Triple H, but it still would have been a hell of a match.
It would have been fun.
I think, in retrospect, the whole invasion story angle, you kind of wish they would have waited a little bit. Plant the seeds here and there, wait until you had the full, those other guaranteed Warner Media, whatever contracts ran out, and then you could have signed Sting, Goldberg, all these guys and done a full-on invasion. And I would have loved to see a series of matches between Sting and Taker. Give you one at SummerSlam, give you one at Survivor Series, and have it end at WrestleMania. Like what could have been, that's the one that always you wish could have happened. That people will book on their video game wrestling cards, for a long time, but it never took place, So
there was one more match of Taker that I loved. It's a triple threat between him, Kurt Angle, and The Rock for the undisputed title at Vengeance 2002. That's one of my favorite matches because there was a point in the middle of the match where they all do the other one's finisher. I think Kurt did a rock bottom, Rock did a choke slam, and Taker did an angle slam. I remember thinking that was just so chaotic and made no real sense, but I loved it anyway. So, because The Rock did a choke slam, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. when Taker was on SmackDown, especially during that run of the SmackDown 6, like, it was so easy to have great matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I love the American Badass gimmick. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but it was one of my favorite gimmicks, hands down.
No, it was fun. I liked what they did that for a while.
Yeah, it was a way to reinvent him, and it was a reason to do the last ride too.
I didn't like when he turned on JR.
Yeah, well, that's because that's been so overly done.
Yeah, but just like everyone should bow down. I was like, okay, that's a little, but yeah. Otherwise.
Oh, you know what match we haven't mentioned yet is the Jeff Hardy ladder match.
Yeah.
Which was
ironically added to by Jim Ross's call.
Yeah.
Make yourself famous, kid.
Make yourself famous, yeah. That was one of the greatest Jim Ross calls ever.
Mm-hmm. Best favorite Taker match of all time is definitely Shawn Taker 1, WrestleMania 25. Mm-hmm. Best one I saw live was the Tag Team Hell in a Cell, where he teamed with Steve Austin against Kane and Mankind on Raw at the Freeman. So that was hell of a surprise too. But
Fremont Coliseum.
Fremont.
I love that joke.
But yeah, it's. I don't even know if it's. I mean, maybe you get a couple more people into the Hall of Fame. We don't need to oversaturate it. Give us 4 or 5 at most. But let's face it, this is the biggest name to go in the Hall of Fame in a long time.
I mean, they've got a recipe now, so they've got to get a female in. They've got to get a celebrity in. Probably a tag team.
An obscure person whose gimmick they bought. Who knows, right? So whatever. Anyway, congrats again to the Undertaker. Pretty cool. And other bit of news I've caught before we went live is that apparently AJ Styles has re-signed a contract with WWE. I don't know if that's true or not, but supposedly he has. I don't know if it's an extension or sitting it for a few years. Who knows? So AJ's sticking around apparently. So we'll see.
Because he's scared of CM Punk.
I feel like AJ is one of the few guys who's like, if he signed an extension, I'm okay with that because he's done everything else, and they can't really ruin that. So,
all right, but they can't. On to Elimination Chamber, or as it's called in Germany, No Escape. Fun fact, guys, they can't use the term chamber for obvious reasons in Germany, so this is called WWE No Escape in Germany. Yeah,
which is actually kind of a better title. I mean, I still keep the chamber name, but I was like, I remember we actually reading that a couple years ago because I knew because I think it took me 2 seconds. Why can't they call it Elimination Chamber in German? Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Pretty strict, yes, exactly.
Because Gunther was definitely against it. One Gunther was never mind.
Oh God!
Wow. So guys, any quick thoughts? Anything you liked and disliked about the show? What kind of stood out to you? Mike, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, I'm biased. The Lita Becky Lynch match was great. Everything else was kind of to me. And I know a lot of people are psyched for like this version of Lesnar, but I hated a bunch of stuff in there. The Reigns Goldberg match to start off was like, okay. Like, I know you can't make a Goldberg match long, and I know he hit a couple spears, but like, I never believed he was going to win. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, like the Rousey Naomi, the tag match, the arm behind the back thing, I don't know, I guess it was fine. Like, nothing really made me super excited. Like, I feel so horrible for the Viking Raiders. Because they still have to act like the Viking Raiders, and they don't get to be War Machine. But also because you traveled across the world to not have a match. That's got to be really annoying. So, I don't know. And then we could talk about... Oh, okay. We'll talk about it a little bit. The spot in the Elimination Chamber that people are freaking out of. Am I the a-hole for not freaking out about it? But...
Which one? Go ahead and call it out.
So the F5 off the top.
Oh, yeah. That was
impressive, yeah. But he landed on his feet. I mean, he's obviously not going to take the straight bump. Yeah. And if you watch it, his feet hit way first. And I'm not criticizing. Like, please take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. But, like, people were flipping off. And I get the idea of the F5 is up there is crazy. But he just kind of fell to his feet. Am I?
I feel like people... I feel like This is gonna sound like a conspiracy theory, but I feel like that's almost like a manufactured reaction. Like everyone's supposed to be like, "Oh my god!" Like, but like, no, it's like, look, I'm sorry, we're still the generation that saw Mick Foley get thrown off Hell in a Cell. Undertaker practically chucked that boy off of there. I know he kind of like stumbled, but no, it looked like Undertaker was like, "Yeah, screw it, kill Mick Foley."
And honestly, if he would have taken the flat bump into the ring, that would have been something, because I wouldn't expect him to take the flat bump onto the outside, because that's
yeah.
So.
Right. I mean, I feel like enough people have done crazy like moonsaults and things onto the mat, which I'm sure still sucks. But that would have been different. But like, I don't know. Like if you watch it, he kind of just lands on his feet and then falls, like crumples down.
To me, like, yeah, he landed hard, and I'm sure that shook his system up. This is pro wrestling. I bet that happens to him during training, so that I'm sure that's pretty usual. And I was like, okay, that looked really cool, and it looked really intense in the moment. But I'm sure he was fine. And look, and like, and if he was, and my thing was, if he was actually hurt, it would be all over social media that Austin Theory got hurt in this spot. The fact that the only thing we've heard is like, oh my god, this looks so bad, that means he's fine, guys.
Yeah, no, of course.
So my thing is like, it looked intense. Like in the moment, I'm sure it was like it just looked and felt intense. And yeah, also it didn't look. No, I've seen people take the F5 look much worse afterwards. And that's when he's just standing in the mat. The one time he did it to Big Show, it looked like almost like he did an FU. I mean, an attitude adjustment. Just like in 2003, and like he couldn't quite turn him over. And it just
he couldn't quite rotate him.
Yeah, just like him safe.
It's funny because he can rotate him sometimes.
Yeah, the thing, my thoughts on it, I think Austin Theory is the one that comes out looking the best from that whole match. I mean, he actually got some offense on Lesnar, almost got some near falls. Obviously, that's the person they want to push. I did enjoy him posting his selfies on social media after the event. I thought that was hilarious, especially when Lashley's just staring at him like, you know.
Yeah.
That is the one gimmick I find legitimately funny on Raw. So I will admit that. I
really did enjoy how the women in all the matches were presented. You know, it's
that was super cool.
You know, obviously it is a big deal, women wrestling in Saudi Arabia or in that part of the world for most countries, but you know, most of the time their outfits have been, you know, covered up, wrist to neck, all the way to their feet, and then they might throw a T-shirt on over it. So it's been really nice to see them get some outfits done that had, you know, the gimmick, Bianca Belair's especially. All that stuff was really well done, and I would argue that what Rhea Ripley wore, she might not wear that normally because it fit in so perfectly with what she normally does.
So, I don't want to speak negatively on Zoe Kravitz, but if we have another Batman movie in the next couple years, may I present to you Rhea Ripley as a version of Catwoman?
Yeah,
because like heavy metal Bat or Catwoman, that works. I'm down with that.
I also would like to say, whoever designed Bianca and Naomi's outfits, thank God for them. May God keep them. May God richly bless them, because them outfits was looking right.
You know, I don't know if this is true or not, but
praise the Lord on that.
I know Bianca usually designs her own gear, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's the one that put those together.
Thank God for Bianca.
Yeah, so I don't know for sure if that's what. Yeah,
that's a constant prayer of me. I just say, like, God, thank you for Bianca Belair. You put in work on that one, Lord.
And then I can't believe she botched again. But Liv Morgan, oops, she did it again,
dude. That was a hell of a. I was a bit surprised by it too, but I loved it. I love that, you know, because you always get some, you know, Sasha Banks did the Sailor Moon look at the Rumble. You know, you always want to call it out. Alexa Bliss has done Buzz Lightyear. But this is the perfect time if you're ever going to do Britney.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it. You know, that was so great. That was so great. And
I laughed because I heard the joke before I saw the outfit. I was like, what is everybody talking about? Then I was like, okay, that's
so well done. Yeah. So if she comes out all like I don't know, she starts coming out to Britney's Lucky at WrestleMania or something. Who knows? Ronda coming out in the gi, I thought that was pretty cool. And that
I thought that fit. Yes, that was good.
In that part of the world, it's a big deal, like judo and other sort of things like that with the Olympics. So that was really cool, and she got a huge ovation. You know, there was a big ovation for her coming out there for that match, and you know they make it a point to these I mean, I want to say her and Lesnar got the almost arguably the biggest pops of the night. You know, just for the
maybe
reaction.
a bunch of marks.
Or just that MMA's so big, that's also how they know him too. So,
No.
But Lita's outfit though was great too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was kind of an old school mix too. You know, the whole old look for it too, and hell of an ovation she got when it was over too. That was really cool. So
yeah, someone showed. I don't remember what pay-per-view it is that Trish came back. I think after Evolution. I don't think it was a Saudi show, but like they showed a picture of her kind of getting that standing O afterwards, and then they showed this one from Lita. So I thought it was pretty cool.
I think that one for Trish wasn't that SummerSlam that year.
Maybe it was SummerSlam.
Yeah. That's because I think they both retired at the top of their game. It's not that they couldn't wrestle anymore. They just wanted to do other stuff. Like Trish does the yoga now, and Lita she sells her band, right?
I don't know if she does, but she like travels. She I follow her on social media.
yeah.
She's just kind of traveling all over the world, doing her thing. The one thing I will mention, of those two that have been close friends and the big rivalry of their generation, one of them left WWE with like a good storyline. One of them got beat and had Crime Time selling their stuff in the crowd afterwards. So F you again, Vince McMahon, because you're you.
Is this a good way to kind of did this get you a taste out of your mouth a bit with Lita having a moment like this?
Oh, it was great for her. I mean, I forgive, I never forget.
And well, do you think she'll be at WrestleMania?
I hope so. I mean, why wouldn't you at this point? I mean, if you've got time to bring in Logan Paul and Bad Bunny and all these other people, might as well have people that have actually been in your company.
Like, I want to give Bad Bunny a pass though because he actually trains.
I know he does.
But the Logan Paul things are. But see, okay, this is gonna sound like the weirdest sentence ever. It's like, but Bad Bunny has experience where Logan Paul does not. I can't believe that's the thing I'm saying out loud.
Well, he's experiencing boxing, non-boxing people, so there's that.
Don't get me started on that rant. I could go on for minutes.
I don't know how you work this into a storyline, but I would actually like to see Lita go up against Rhea Ripley or Naomi. Those are like two potential opponents for her WrestleMania.
I think Naomi's already got her ticket signed with Sonya. So.
Oh well, yeah, that's true, Sonya. Yeah. But they have that. But Rhea, for whatever reason, I think that'd be a good mix of styles and a little bit of the rocker gimmicks.
Or coming back, Lita versus Bayley. Let's do that.
If she's healthy,
that would be sweet.
Bayley would love it, I know. Sweet. So that'd be a dream match for her.
mean, I'd have really torn allegiances there, but we're both the winner either way.
Oh man, I would love to watch that with you, just to see see your brain just kind of malfunction.
That would be the match pick that Mike finally flips a coin, so we can get a pick on it. So, yeah.
If any of you can sew, I'm gonna find my one WWE Lita shirt. I'm gonna find one of the few Bayley shirts I have. We'll cut them down the middle. We'll resew them.
Tina's got a sewing machine. I'll ask her.
I was just about to say, I think my mom still has her sewing machine, and I want to say, hey, Mom, can you sew 2 shirts together?
Okay, we've made a lot of proclamations since 2022 started.
Yeah.
And I'm
if that is one. Well, since one guy left the company, I don't know if I can keep mine. I don't know. Anyways, straight up, if it's Lita versus Bayley at WrestleMania, I'm going to make that shirt.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to do it, because I didn't really like the Lita one that came from WWE. It's because it's, WWE stuff. But I have like a few Bayley shirts, so I can take one of them and do it.
Okay.
You might be able to find. Maybe you can find a better Lita shirt like on her. Does she have like a?
She has a pro wrestling t-shirt. She did. Yeah, I'm sure she still does.
I'm sure it's
still does. I mean, like usually legends like that, they don't have to close their pro wrestling tee store.
Right. Yeah.
Like only if you're under contract, and that's under actual WWE contract. Because
like
I remember the NXT guys had their stuff up there forever. I was like, dude, you've been in NXT for a year. How is your store still up?
Because they're not main roster.
They were in NXT.
Yeah. Vince doesn't count as a real thing.
And Vince forgot NXT was there for like 4 years.
Exactly.
By the way, I should also shout out that Nikki, almost superhero, didn't have to change her outfit at all. It looked exactly the same, which is pretty cool.
That might have been probably the most hilarious thing to me. It's like that the lack of needing to change that was funny.
All right, on to our pick results here. Mike and Tommy each went 2-2, and I went 3-1. Hey, good. Yeah, I know.
I don't think I care as much.
The whole Usos and Viking Raiders, or maybe they'll make an appearance on Vikings Valhalla coming soon to Netflix. Maybe that's why they brought those guys back. Who knows? Anyway, that was just a no contest, so what was the point, right? So didn't even have to count that.
So many like family and friends tell me about random like WWE shows like that, and like I had to I was like, I really don't follow them as closely as I used to, so I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Yeah, like I don't know, unless the Viking Raiders wanted to take a trip to Saudi Arabia, they just wanted the experience. I would have been like, can we just tape this like backstage here at home and pretend like it happened over there?
Like we have green screens.
I'd rather they pretend like they jumped us before we ever got on the plane.
Right, like at the airport or something.
Yeah.
That'd have been great. Just a video of them like laid out in the tarmac back in the States. Be fun.
Oh no, we can't make it to Saudi Arabia. Good luck getting back, guys. Bye.
All right, so Mike, time for WrestleCast ratings is 0 to 5. 5-year WrestleMania 17, 0 to December. Just remember, what is your rating for Elimination Chamber?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5, and the 0.5 beyond the 3 is just because of Lynch and Lita. Like, I don't know, like the matches weren't horrible, but I'm just not hyped for much of this.
Okay.
We didn't even talk about Madcap Moss like taking a header and then keeping wrestling. I hate the way they took Lashley out, even though I know supposedly he was actually injured ahead of time and needed to be. I think they could have done that better.
Yeah.
And I know this Lesnar is more entertaining. It's a different Lesnar, but it's also been Lesnar since like 2013. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of him. And I know like their characters are different and it's a new dynamic, but I guess I'm just still bitter because you had so much other things you let go and we're just still stuck on this like all this time later. So it's just not getting me hyped up for much.
All right, Tommy.
Since I didn't watch the whole show, I'll go ahead and refrain to be on the safe side, so I won't be too harsh just with like the results.
I heard it too.
All right.
But but to piggyback on what Mike said, I feel like the worst part about what they've been doing is we finally get a Lesnar we kind of can tolerate or even like. I'll say like. I actually like this version of Lesnar. We get a Roman Reigns who's more interesting, and they still ran both into the ground already. It hasn't even been a full. Well, it's been a full year with Roman. It hasn't been a full year with this version of Lesnar. And they already ran both to the ground. Like, how do you do that? How did you do that? Because by comparison, I'll put it this way: MJF has literally been the exact same person he's been his entire career, and it is still awesome every single time. And by awesome, I mean you love to hate him. You legitimately hate him, but in a good way.
Yeah, but also whether it's because of they're starting to get a larger roster or they don't have quite all the shows, he's not shoved down your throat constantly. Like, he gets into feuds, and then it kind of cools down for a little bit. And then they get into feuds. So, like, it's not a constant, like, he is the only thing presented in your face 24/7. You know?
Right.
Like, it's kind of probably because they only have 3 hours to work with and a big roster. But, like, you'll notice, you'll go through a Dynamite and, like, 1 week Best Friends won't be on there. 1 week, the new... join the Dark Order. Dark Order's not on there. Right, 1 week the Young Bucks aren't on there. Like, Keith Lee debuted, and then he wasn't on next week's, Dynamite. They don't constantly just have the same thing over and over. They try... just because they have not as much time as WWE does. They've tried to spread it around. Punk has kind of been there most times, but, it's Punk. It's kind of like a special case.
I feel like the guys who they have had there consistently since they got there were... like Punk, Danielson, now that he's back, Moxley. Yeah. But then again...
That's their guys.
Okay, but I was going to say, but to be fair, if I have a company and I have CM Punk, John Moxley, and Bryan Danielson, I'm going to have them on my show every week. I don't care how everybody else feels about it. They're going to be on TV at some point. It can be a few minutes, but you're going to see them, damn it.
Adam Cole's there.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently, same
Adam
thing.
Cole is clearly on this tear of being the number one contender, so that one logically makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
and even Adam Page wasn't necessarily every week after his couple wins.
And then that's just the way they booked it strategically and smartly.
Yeah.
You know, they're not overloading you with it.
But I do love it that when Page is there and he's wrestling, like, sweet lord, it is a fight. Like that damn Texas death match with Archer. Jesus, I was like, this is on a free episode of Dynamite. That was a pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
For me, I'm giving the show a 3. It's okay. I highlighted that the women's matches were great. The women's chamber, was good. I like Bianca winning it, and even the tag match, we didn't. I know it was Ronda with one arm tied behind her back and made that whole big deal about it. And then, of course, Becky and Lita, which arguably was the match of the night, is what kind of brought this up. But, the Viking Raiders thing was just so dumb. Like, what was the point, Yeah. Roman and Goldberg, good start. Expected it because if Roman's, not last, he wants to go first. And, but Goldberg shouldn't be in that position in the first place. I'm sorry.
No.
That's it.
It's wins and losses do matter deep down. And he keeps losing title shot after title shot. Why does he keep coming back and just keep getting title shots, I don't really fully mind the way Lesnar was booked to win the Chamber. Yes, he legit destroyed the Chamber. I kind of expected that. I said it on the show last week. I think I was the only one that predicted Lesnar to win. And
I just didn't want to.
Yeah, and the way Lashley was taken out, and everyone seems to think it's going to be Lesnar versus Roman. I wonder if Lashley finds a way to get into that.
Well, probably not. Hopefully he's got to have shoulder surgery.
Oh, so it's really severe surgery. Well, damn it.
Oh, yeah. So, he wasn't injured in the thing, but apparently the reason they took him out was because he got injured at Royal Rumble.
Okay.
From Lesnar match. Right.
Which sucks because, that's the way that match ended with him and Lesnar. You could have done more with it.
Oh, yeah.
It's the feud we all wanted to see when Lesnar and Lashley all of a sudden ended up in WWE together. And we got one match out of the deal. You could have built a whole storyline. But now we're supposed to get a winner-take-all, and it's like, why? You found...
Underlying racism.
Yeah, you found every which way to... Well, okay. I'll save what I want to say with my 1 minute warning, because that's really what I want to cover with it as well. But overall rating, 3.25 out of 5 for Elimination Chamber for the WrestleCast. So... Hey, it is pretty cool to see international events getting a pay-per-view. I didn't mind a midday pay-per-view. Granted, I was coaching my daughter's softball team at the time, and then, didn't get to see it live, beginning to watch after the fact. Don't mind Saturday pay-per-views. I kind of like that we got that. So, now, speaking of which, let's move on to something that happened Saturday night. Impact NoSurrender. Let's move on, all right? This was an Impact Plus exclusive event, which, by the way, most of the time last year, these events were taped and then rebroadcast. So this was actually broadcast live, and it went really well, from New Orleans.
Except for one thing.
Tommy, go ahead. Talk about it, because... yeah.
Why can't we have nice things? I like nice things and we can't have them. Why, Jay? Why?
Because it's Jay White.
Yeah, but it was a really good swerve. I can't even front. I was just like, ah! It was almost as bad as when Evil betrayed Lij, and I can't trust the word almost enough because I will never forgive. Yes, I'm talking about this again. Damn it! I will never forgive Evil for betraying Lij.
Tommy.
Oh, Jim for life.
His name is Evil.
What
did you expect?
Terror!
It's like... Okay, yeah, it's in the name. Like, you knew it was going to happen at some point, right?
Never!
Okay?
It's like Ant-Man in Endgame when he sees the guys with S.H.I.E.L.D. He's like, you didn't realize they were the enemy? He's like, look at them. His name is Evil. Look at him.
Don't care.
Guys, obviously we know what Tommy didn't like was that swerve, but it was a hell of a swerve, to be honest with you. I mean, come on.
Well, it was, and basically it was one of two that night that I was thoroughly impressed by.
Mm-hmm.
Again, why is Impact the best bridge of pro wrestling right now? It is literally like everyone, like all paths, like it's. I almost made an Attack on Titan reference. I am so sorry. I have been hyped on that shit. My bad. I am so sorry. I
don't watch a lot of anime, but I hear a lot of good things about that show. But anyway, go ahead.
No, side note: if you guys ever get to watch, it's a fantastic show. It does not end where it starts. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
But no, I was so close to making a reference, and because I haven't watched that show heavy. But anyway, no, it was impressive because Impact, again, for a company that was supposed to have been dead a few years ago, it won't die. They're saying, oh you want us to be dead? F you, kill us if you think we're gonna be dead. We're not going anywhere until you kill us.
Mike, what did you like the most out of this? What stood out to you a lot from this show?
For full disclosure, I did not see this show.
Ooh, okay.
I did check results. But Jonah won, so I'm always down for that, for the big guy club. And it was kind of cool, actually, because, again, I saw clips and stuff. I haven't seen the whole thing, but
yeah,
him and Black Taurus, and, Black Taurus has always been portrayed as a big guy himself, but Jonah, made him seem small.
That's amazing. That is amazing to make him seem small.
Cardona and Grace, of course, was fun. I love Cardona's...
I love the finish, honestly, of that match, too. Having watched it and I did see it, obviously, I like the DQ finish, and I like the snapbacks on Twitter. Even like after she got DQ'd, she went ahead and just hit him with the chair anyway, and he said something on Twitter after when they posted the highlight on Impact. He quote tweeted it and said something like she needs to be fired or released, and then Jordan Grace fat back and was like, "You would know something about that, wouldn't you?" And I love it. I love it. So
you should have just ended her tweet. Woo woo woo.
Woo woo. Yes. So this ain't over yet.
I feel like at this point, Cardona is so aware of those jokes. Like he is he's telling everyone, "Hey, is this too harsh? No, I love it. Use it. Say it."
I think he's definitely down like that. Yeah.
I just feel like he loves this hate so much because he was the good guy for so long. He gets to just cut loose and be evil, and he's enjoying it. So.
I've actually really enjoyed this feud. I love this storyline. Even Matt Cardona throwing shots at her husband, calling Gresham weak, in the build-up to it. So,
well, I love this feud because, to be fair, I bet they could bench probably about the same, and I'm guessing Jordan could probably bench more than him, to be perfectly honest.
Probably. I don't know if they'll continue this in 2 weeks at Sacrifice, but we'll see what kind of matches. So far, they've only booked 2 matches for Sacrifice. One of which is the Inspiration, Mike. They're finally beginning getting the match against the Influence, and the other is oh god, I just had it in front of me. Let me get it here. Jay White versus Alex Shelley at Sacrifice. Yes, it's a match you didn't know you wanted, did you, Tommy?
I'm sorry. Oh, how does Mike phrase it? 6 to midnight.
Yes. Those were 2 matches that Impact announced today. It was a surprise even at the event that they announced the Sacrifices in 2 weeks now. The night before AEW Revolution.
Hello, my friend, we meet again. Oh, wrong Sacrifice. Yeah.
But, we'll see what else they announce for Thursday. All they've really teased for Thursday is that Eddie Edwards will explain his actions. And honestly...
I can't wait for that, man!
I can't wait when you watch the show. What were they getting to, Eddie Edwards wasn't sure, gets attacked backstage, all that. It builds up perfectly. And for me, obviously I've known Eddie Edwards as a Ring of Honor guy. There's a famous picture of us somewhere on the Ring of Honor website where he had just chopped someone in front of us at the Ring of Honor show in San Antonio. I wrote a 10, he's holding it up, and there's Tina smiling, me smiling at, But
you know what's funny? They had that on some other promotional stuff for the West, and not just the show for that show. I saw it on something else.
Really?
I can't remember what else I was like. Yeah, they would rotate pictures out on something, and I saw it again. I was like, hey, where am I that? I saw it for a couple years after that.
That's awesome.
But it's so night and day who Eddie Edwards is in Impact versus when he was in Ring of Honor.
Dude. Yeah. 100%.
That's why I was still surprised, still following Impact, and then he made that turn and did what he did, and it's like, oh god, yeah, he was a Ring of Honor. You forget, so.
Yeah, but did you see Sami Callihan tweeted out on Twitter?
No, what did he respond with?
He quote tweeted like the picture of Honor No More together, and he said WTF.
Yeah.
he said something. He pretty much he said something like this is what I give for hitting him with that baseball bat, isn't it, or something like that. Then Shane Taylor said, "Hey man, if you need backup, you know who to call. It's not Ghostbusters." And I was like, Shane, don't play with me. Do not show up at Impact with Sami Callihan because that's just everything I want.
Shane...
yeah, that's what I want. I'm just like, it's like it'd be two of the most destructive forces in wrestling going at everybody.
And let's be honest, Shane Taylor Promotions didn't have the best time dealing with Ring of Honor management as it is. They built that story up for so long. You can kind of keep that going. And, they're
not happy about it, let me tell you.
No. So how the explanation goes on Thursday on Impact, I will definitely be trying to watch that because I want to see how they play this up. But I will say this, though. Has Ring of Honor hiatus, I would say Impact has taken full advantage of it. On so many levels.
As opposed to again 2003 or 4 when they had the whole Rob Feinstein controversy and wanted nothing to do with ROH anymore and vice versa. But new management, new leadership, water under bridges. So I feel like more than Impact, I feel like the wrestlers themselves took full advantage of it. Because Khan is still in the indie scene, but he wrestled Moose at RCW for the Impact Championship. And you can call RCW indie all you want. The Impact World Champion was there, so they can't be that damn indie. Shane Taylor is just doing whatever he wants. Well, that's kind of what he did before while he was at ROH, so that's not that different. Props to Gresham. He's been keeping the ROH World Title very much in the wrestling eye. And actually, and I'm going to give props to Deonna Purrazzo for doing the same with the ROH Women's Title because where I thought the belt would just be an afterthought, she actually is scheduled to defend it. I think somewhere soon. I think in Texas.
I believe so. She just defended it. It was open challenge at No Surrender. Yeah, so she's still actually defending it.
But I think she's coming to Texas to defend it too. I think.
Yeah.
I knew about the No Surrender, but so props to the wrestlers. And of course, I would say I was going to say and the Briscoes, but then again, the Briscoes they're always important. I don't care what the Briscoes are doing. They matter. They can film promos from their chicken farm for the next 5 years, and I'll still be watching the promos. And be like, ha! Look at them on that chicken farm. Oh, those rednecks.
One final thing I want to say: Moose versus Morrissey was way better than I thought it was going to be. It's always
it was really impressive.
It's always very hit or miss with the two big guys like this together, especially two that have had heel reputations. But it went well, So it was a good job.
Two big men slapping me.
There we go. Yes.
I obviously didn't see the whole match, but even the stuff leading up to it, I got to give credit for Morrissey for kind of really stepping up and making himself a legitimate looking main event, caliber person. So,
it's pretty cool. It was a good show.
It's really good for him. I think that he's really I really hope things continue to get better for him. I honestly do hope he's one of those guys who goes off, gets clean, looks better, and does go back to WWE and wins 3 world championships. I'm honestly okay with him being one of the guys who does that because I feel like he's one of those redemption stories, or stays where he's at, or goes somewhere else.
Honestly, I'm of the opinion he doesn't need WWE. If he can make a name for himself doing this, and let's be honest here, as long as his ex is there, he's not going back for obvious reasons, and it's understandable. What happened, and I'm not condoning what he did. He'll probably never be forgiven for that on some level, but he's gotten himself through rehab, cleaned himself up, and if he can make a career of it outside of WWE and on his own too. Now he's still booking indies as Kaz Excel, still booking matches with Enzo as on the tag team side of it, but he can still make an individual career for himself as Morrissey or even as Kaz Excel, and he's showing that he can do that, which is a welcome sight to see for a guy like him. So, Mike, now I know you didn't see the show. Tommy, are you comfortable giving a rating for it, or is there going to be just?
I can give a rating for it.
Okay.
I'll give a rating for
Pick result wise though, it was actually the same as Elimination Chamber. You guys went 2-2, and I went 3-1 as well. So, but tell me, what's your rating for No Surrender?
I'll play it safe and give it a 4, just to be on the safe side. Like, I don't want to overhype it. Like, this one, but no, it was a solid show. I would say, you know, I won't call it a must see or nothing like that, but I'll say it was a 4, a really solid effort out of Impact. Definitely full of moments that you shouldn't miss, because I have no idea what's going to happen now with Bullet Club. I really don't know what that meant.
It's a civil war across many companies. I think was pretty cool.
I would love that.
Because you saw what the Young Bucks changed their Twitter.
I saw the Young Bucks did, and then
they're all keeping it involved.
What did Thomas say? I saw it, but I was laughing.
Thomas said, "Suck my D" or something.
Yeah,
basically.
but yeah. But see, my thing is, I don't know if that means Jay White is kicking them out of Bullet Club. If that means he's leaving Bullet Club and he was throwing them out, and I don't know what guys like Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens and Kent have to say about this, because this decision I'm sure was made without their knowledge. So.
Well, I'm also giving it a 4. I was on the same wavelength. It was just a really solid show throughout. So overall rating, Mike, you can do the math for us if you want, but it's pretty easy.
3 point? No, I'm just kidding.
He's off the clock. No.
Okay. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. 4.0 for No Surrender. Great job. As far as what your theories are, let's just say it. I've been kind of hoping for this just for the hell of it. Give me a Bullet Club Red and Black of the Wolfpack, just to kind of throw some more fun at that. You know, the standard NWO parody thing.
I don't see why they wouldn't do that. I really don't see.
It's a civil war for leadership, basically. This is what it's
turning
into.
My biggest concern in all this is Bullet Club's the cutest tag team.
We want them to be taken care of. Where do they end up in all this?
Make sure they're okay, whatever happens.
They're the innocent bystanders in this. They're the casualties caught in the middle watching Mommy and Daddy fight. That's what it is. They're watching Mommy and Daddy fight. They don't know where to go. You got to protect kids in situations like this.
Yeah. Phantasm and Ishimori are never the innocent children in any situation. I'm pretty sure if they were at a bank when it gets robbed, I'd still question them, because I'm sure they had something to do.
Well, I think that just makes you racist.
What?
Oh my gosh, good stuff.
I was not ready for that. I really wasn't.
I'm not ready for most things I say. So
kind of makes you feel better that you don't know what you're going to say next.
Yes.
Well, Mike, let's see.
Scott said, sometimes I start a sentence, I don't even know where I'm going to finish it. I just keep going.
Well, let's see if you're going to bring something to this next segment. It's our 1 minute warning here. Mike, do you have anything this week for 1 minute?
That was such a transition.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Okay, so I know we're going to talk about this in the next week or two because AEW has their pay-per-view coming up. But it's already been announced that the women's match for the title is Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker.
Yes.
So I told them this before the show, and I just want to call it now on the show. It's time for Thunder Rosa to take the title. I have loved everything Britt Baker has done. She has done an amazing job. Her character and her in-ring work has just been elevated ridiculously. But, selfishly, I need Thunder Rosa to walk into the Fremont Coliseum with that women's title on March 16th when they are there for Dynamite. Because, as I've been saying, San Antonio, we need to bring it with the crowd reaction. We need to show that we are just as good as Chicago and Austin and all these other shows that AEW's already, these cities they've kind of claimed as big places. And I think Rosa walking in with that belt would be a big, plus probably some of the local guys like Keith Lee showing up, I think will be a big deal. Yes. But I think it's time, and this Thunder Rosa again with AEW and their storylines. That Britt Rosa thing started last year. They had their unsanctioned match. Rosa won. Britt lost. They both took off pretty well, but Britt really skyrocketed and got more credit out of that.
Yeah.
But they moved on to other things. They let them go separate ways, and then they finally brought them back, and I think it's time. I'm not saying AEW is always perfect, but they do have a better track record recently of some longer-term story booking. And so I just want to throw that out there before we get to it in a week or two.
I think the year anniversary of that match is coming up, isn't it? Wasn't it 2021?
Yeah, it was last year.
It was, yeah.
It was early. I think we said it was in March. I think we said.
St. Patrick's?
The St. Patrick's Day show or something.
Yeah. So it is coming up, and that's, Revolution would be a perfect kind of like almost 1 year anniversary of that. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, do you have anything this week for 1 Minute Warning?
Before I do, to piggyback on Mike's, I was going to say also just let Ricky Starks come in the building because I don't care that he's from New Orleans, we adopted him.
Yeah.
Yes.
The I-35 Austin San Antonio line, we claim Ricky Starks as our own. I love this one thing they said when they were in Austin for one show, he got cheered out of the building no matter what he did. I was like, that's because, dude, Ricky Starks is an Austin guy. I don't care that he's from New Orleans. We adopted him.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Him and Robert Evans getting the superhero treatment, right? So,
Sure.
Yeah. So.
R.D. Evans.
All right, Tommy, you ready?
Yep.
All right, and go.
Okay, so I want to talk about what happened recently in New Japan. I'm just happy that that dude Sonata finally won a singles championship. Only took, how many years has he been there? Anyway, he won the IWGP US title, and it's just cool. I mean, to me, him and Goto are the same. They're always the bridesmaid, really never the bride when it comes to the world title. So I'm hoping that'll change for one of them soon. I always wanted Goto to be world champion, but that was just personal preference. But it's cool to see Sonata with the U.S. title. I can't believe Yusuke Taguchi got to be the 69th tag team tag champion. I can't believe that actually happened, but good for him and Master Wato.
Nice.
But damn it, I cannot believe Toriano got that damn trophy back already.
Right. You saved the best part of that show for last. You damn right. That's the best thing.
I couldn't believe it.
I
was like,
it.
are you freaking kidding me?
The fucking king of pro wrestling. That's right.
I cannot believe he won that back already. And I thought to myself, Lord, please do not let him carry this all the way back to December again.
Oh, he's going to. He's going to. And then with COVID restrictions coming up, he's going to.
That's the third year in a row.
Damn right, third year in a row for his fucking career. To the point where WWE's going to have to sign him to put him in their Hall of Fame because it's so legendary. Dare I say this? He might show up on Impact and defend it on an Impact Pay Plus event this year, and why not?
Please.
Toriano, I'm surprised. I think the only reason he hasn't shown up more places with this Forbidden Door thing is because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Because he's goofy enough to be on anyone's program and get over. Yeah. Because the crowd will either laugh so much because they love him or boo him so much they'll hate him. The point is he'll get a reaction. Mm-hmm. No one is quiet during a Toriano match.
No,
that's the point.
It's so entertaining.
Because the guys you say who hate him so much, it's like, but you're still talking about it.
Yes.
That's the problem. As long as you're talking about Toriano, he wins. It doesn't matter what connotation you speak of this man about. He knows people hate him. He doesn't give a shit.
That's why it's even more great the fact that he could potentially for 30 in a row be the king of pro wrestling. Ever since they started this, he's been the one and only. So,
And the fact that that's still a true statement just blows my mind. By the way, Minoru Suzuki is going to be in Dallas during the WrestleMania weekend, and by hook or by crook, at some point I'm going to do my best to meet him. I have missed him like 4 years in a row, and I refuse to let it happen again. If that's the only thing I do that entire weekend, I'm cool. I'm set.
For me, I kind of mentioned this earlier. We had been kind of getting into the whole Roman and Lesnar thing and how it's been done over and over, and it's so boring and this and that, and yet so many people out there are hyping this up as some big thing. Oh, it's some WrestleMania thing, winner take all. I don't like it because I feel like ever since the Universal Championship has come along, WWE has done everything in its power to lessen what the WWE Championship is. It sucks. So many times they put the Universal title on last on a show because of who was holding it or whatever. It's a shame, really. There's so much history in the WWE Championship. But I don't care. If it's Lesnar and Roman, I genuinely don't care. And I get it. I could say this like it's a part-time wrestler. Or Lesnar's he's going to maybe win the title and not show up the rest of the year. Or if he loses, whatever. I'm more hyped about a potential rumored Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens match that could happen this year, that has been talked about. And I know it's a part-time thing, and we talk about people coming out of retirement. This is one of those where I wouldn't mind an exception to it. Because Steve Austin's last match, we didn't know it was his last match. No one knew except for really The Rock, you know? But if Austin is potentially coming out of retirement for one more shot, you know he sees something special in Kevin Owens. And I think it is definitely worth it on that point, getting this match. And if it does happen, that should go on last. Honestly, it's got the potential to. But I know it won't, and I don't think it should, because the titles mean something. And I would like to see a women's title defended last on one of the WrestleMania nights. So, just my thoughts on that.
Does Charlotte still have the title? Does, right?
Yeah, she does. She's defending against Ronda.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
I don't know. I agree. Like I said.
I'm going to throw a 15-second warning back in here real
go for
quick.
it. I don't have the time for that. Just go.
We wanted Becky and Rousey. We lost it because of Nia Jax first. And then we lost it at WrestleMania because they had to throw Charlotte in there. Now we had a chance for it again, even though I'm not a big fan of big-time Bex as much as the man. And they still go with Charlotte. I know we have talked so much about hating the character, not hating the person. But she keeps getting thrown into the matches we don't want her in. I'm done.
Oh, there was one thing I forgot to mention. I don't know if you guys heard. Kairi Sane.
Back in Stardom.
Mojo.
Yep.
She's back in Stardom. Yep.
She got jumped already? Is that what I saw in someone's clip?
Starlight Kid, no Edo Tai. They jumped her already. Which
Tommy's pissed about that too, even more so than Evil turning.
Kind of. Only because Starlight Kid. Only because Oedo Tai was really kind of falling off until they added Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe to make the stable kind of stronger again, and they're more fun now. So, and also Donna Del Mondo is still a tag team, and everyone loves Julia. I'm everyone, so I'm more forgiving of Stardom because of that.
Yeah.
Evil's a bastard. He hit Naito.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this week's Countdown City WrestleCast. Real quick note before we get out of here. Congrats to Roxy, 20 years old and signed to WWE. Been reported. She hasn't officially confirmed it, but it's pretty much out there. So if you have an indie show in your area and she's booked on it, get all the autographs you can. Get on Pro Wrestling Tees and buy all the shirts you can or wherever she has merch, because she's headed to Orlando. Yeah. And
please don't let her ruin her too badly. That way, when she leaves, she can have a career afterwards.
If there's one thing I want to see her that I think is going to help her with is definitely her promo work. That's the one down side of her game, her overall persona, her wrestling persona, and I think she'll get that.
Agree.
But I really hope she gets to expand too on it, and I hope she's not NXT too long. Because
just don't get insulted, guys, when she shows up as a flamenco dancer on 2.0. Because she's Hispanic.
Please, dear God, don't do that. So, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We do appreciate it. Next week, we will be back to preview Impact Sacrifice and AEW Revolution. Whew, one of those we know is already going to be hype. We've seen what's been set up for it, especially with a dog collar match set up in there as well. Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Sorry.
CM Punk is so god tier, and as much as I love MJF, like I've said, he's amazing, but he is not at that level. Be My Valentine, the wordplay on that dog collar, oh my god.
Left MJF speechless.
Perfect.
Left MJF speechless.
Yes.
And we'll talk about it next week, but next week, you remind me, because I got to tell you guys about the last, because I know the last dog collar match he was in. I actually
Punk?
Punk.
The Raven one?
No, it was after that. It was him and Jimmy Rave.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And I had that DVD until I watched it so much that it didn't play anymore.
Gotta find it on the internet somewhere then.
Gotta find a replacement. But yeah, we'll talk about it next week, because that match was crazy.
Yeah. So again, Impact Sacrifice, which Tommy's already interested in watching because it's Jay White versus Alex Shelley, and then of course AEW Revolution. We'll be previewing those next week.
Jay White and Alex Shelley.
Yes.
Oh my God! It's the battle of the swinging STOs, because Alex Shelley it was called the Shell Shock. He gave him that. I'm serious. When Jay White was doing his excursion, Alex Shelley gave him permission to use that, his finisher.
The Switchblade now?
He calls the Blade Runner.
Or the
Oh my God! This match is gonna be insane. Sorry.
Tommy's gonna be watching on Thursday for Impact. We'll see how this goes.
Sorry. What's beyond midnight? It's beyond midnight now.
Wait, 6 to 6? You win? Never mind. That's not how that works.
It's jumping in the multiverses, basically. All right. Over here, we got Tommy.
Guys.
We got Mike.
Thanks, guys. Be good to each other.
And I'm JC. And as always, heels and baby faces. Remember, pro wrestling is real.
People are
fake.
fake.
We'll see you next week.
Adios, puntos.